and Marvel made me, I can't think any other term for it other than comics famous, and so that's how I've
Mhm.
been able to do everything after they fired me. So like it's a weird kind of existence, right? Where at the one time, on the one hand, you have this lineage that is, when you were going through it, toxic and weird, but by the same token gives you all the good stuff that came after it. So it's here's how I look at it, which is that at a certain
Okay.
point, I think if you're in a creative job, and again, this is just my personal opinion, your
Mhm.
mileage may vary, but you have to love the work, right? I
Mhm.
was very lucky. I went to Syracuse University in the early 90s, and we got to see Douglas Adams speak. I don't know if you guys know who
Oh,
Douglas Adams
nice.
is. He wrote a
Nice.
book
Oh,
called
yeah.
Guide
Wow.
to the Galaxy. And so he was very
Mhm.
famous as being a writer who hated writing. Like he had to and he obviously did not produce a whole lot. He did the 3 or 4 or 5
Mhm.
Hitchhiker's books. He did the couple Dirk Gently books. He did some
Mhm.
radio plays. He did some radio documentaries, and then he died relatively early. I think in his mid 40s.
Yeah.
Of this, yeah. And so it was fascinating hearing him talk about someone who hated writing. And as much as I admire him as I love his work, I guess that's the part I don't really relate to, because um, you just have to love to at a certain point. So I think a lot of people become writers or any kind of artist expecting that you're going to get the love that you gave out as a reader, right? You become a writer
Mhm.
to get the love, to receive the
Mhm.
love you're transmitting out as a reader. And it
Right.
was a very specific moment where I realized this was not a healthy way to add it to live, and it was about
Mhm.
Incredible Hercules, actually. And so
Oh.
Incredible Hercules was beloved by the internet, and so but then we did this whole series in Incredible Hercules, and Drew, you may know the story I'm talking about.
Yep.
There was a bit where Amadeus and Hercules have to go rescue Zeus from hell, from Hades.
Yeah. Mhm.
And there was a guy who just wrote 10 out of 10. And so I was addicted to my reviews at this point, right? Because Incredible Hercules for the first 2 years was just like love, 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 love. And I was just like, fucking put it in my vein, right? They were like,
Right.
it was just addictive, right?
Right.
And at about this point, this one guy, I can't remember the name of the comic site, I don't think it exists anymore. He just
Mhm.
completely turned on us. He was like, this is shit. You guys suck. I hate this. And the whole crux of his review was that Paul Cornell and Leonard Kirk's Captain Britain and MI13 was being canceled, but our series was continuing. So his whole review was basically a rant about how this other book he liked was being canceled. And so I did the dumbest thing. I did
Oh, no.
one of the stupidest things I ever did in my career. And so he was like, I don't give so he wrote, the review was like, I don't think these people give a shit about their comic anymore. And they're just
Mhm.
in. And clearly the MI13 people care, and these people don't. And so I wrote this guy, and I was like, it's not true. We love you, and we love the book. And he's like, oh, I was pissed off and wrote that, and I was like, oh shit. And I sort of realized that, and I looked back at his other reviews, and what you realize is, and this is sort of the disturbing thing, is neither the good reviews nor the bad reviews make any sense, right? You read I've read many good reviews where I'm like, did you read the same book that I did? Like, you're making no fucking sense at all. And what you realize is it's all surface, right? I mean,
Mhm.
we before I became a professional writer, I went to English graduate school, and where we were being taught how to be English teachers, right? And
Mhm.
Mhm.
so this was like 1990, I want to say 1994. And they had this fascinating statistic to me in 1994 that said studies show people only retain about 60% of what they read. Like on average. We're talking dumb people, smart people, everybody. The other 40% just make up. They just make it up, you know? So what I tell my students, I teach a lot of comics, is the four of us on this call have all seen a movie that everybody we know loves.
Yes.
And we're like, that's the biggest fucking piece of shit I've ever seen. What are you fucking talking about? And all four of us on this call love a movie, a comic, a book, whatever it is, that everybody else is like, you're insane. What are you talking about? That's a piece of shit.
Absolutely.
Shut up. I love it. I will broach no abuse of insert title here, you know, and I think that's the 60-40 rule is that it all comes down to your experience of the art, right? It's your personal experience. And sometimes we get the 60 and sometimes we get the 40, you know?
Right.
I teach comics. I ask people what are your influences. You could all name the top 5. It's Watchmen, Mouse, fucking Dragon Ball Z. We could all do it One Piece. It's all the same 10 comics that everyone in the world has read.
Right.
This is a Spanish company I work for, so I get a lot of students from Brazil and Italy and just all over the world. And it's all the same fucking, you know. I think when we all get into this job, we all want to be in that top 10. We all want to be Watchmen or Dark Knight Returns or Mouse or Long Halloween is another thing people say a lot, which is a book I can't stand, but many people love Long Halloween. And you know what? I'm a teacher. I have to accept everyone, you know.
Right.
Even if Tim Sale's art is great, but the rest of it I can deal with that. Anyway, the point being, we're all on our own journeys in this planet, my friends, and you know, you may have had a question at some point, but I clearly have.
No.
And I had my pub trivia.
You're answering it.
No, Fred, that was a beautiful train of thought, man. So it's just, you know, no, it really was.
In the middle of nowhere.
No, because you're saying it's about preferences, and you know, you're allowed. Everybody's allowed their preferences.
Exactly.
But you don't have a right to look at somebody. Oh, your opinion's wrong.
100%.
You know, you just have to be like, you know, it's like I always jokingly say, like if someone's like, I'm like, listen, that's just your opinion, and I will respect it, even though it's wrong. You know, it's the joking, but at the same time, you know, and you know, you see that on the internet. You see people that they'll just spend hours just crapping on.
Like
something.
literally today, like literally 3 hours ago, a very good buddy of mine, he was like, you know, and we're big movie buffs, and he was like, you know, I took my wife to see Werner Herzog's Nosferatu. And I nearly stabbed him to death. I was like, all right. Adults, we're both adults. You can have totally wrong opinions, and I can still like you.
Right. So exactly, you know. No, that's exactly my point. And I like speaking for myself, and I'm fairly sure these guys, is that I remember I saw something Kevin Smith was talking about. He was like, you know, he was talking about before his stroke, he could list these movies he didn't like and whatnot. But after he had his stroke and he had his breakdown and he built himself back up, he was talking about like, I don't want to spend that time talking about things I'm not a fan of. I want to spend the time talking about these things I love.
Totally
And I saw that, and I was like, you know what? That is a really great way, because just like everything, even things you don't like, there's probably something in it that you do. Like, I'm not the greatest fan of Twilight, but I can admit I love the soundtracks because they're all, you know, early 2000 emo alternative things. I'm like, oh, great, these are amazing.
But I think that even you know, like Twilight, there's no point in wasting your time. This is the part that I'm trying to nail home is you're not going to waste your time convincing people not to like Twilight. Like, who cares? Like, you know, if people like it, let them like. Who cares? Let them like it. It's not a problem. Like, let people have joy.
Right. Exactly.
It doesn't hurt you. Yeah. Other people are happy. You know, like, doesn't make any sense.
Well, there's also way too much negativity nowadays. You know, it's just, and
90% of it is just, people looking to,
Start a fight.
views or clicks or whatever. It's just
or they're children and they just want to go, oh, it's my way or the highway. I was like, listen, that works for the monkey bars, but we're adults. Like you can't always, I mean, listen, if somebody wants to duke it out at the monkey bars, I mean, it's been a long time, but I'm tall now, so I can reach them. So, hey.
Yeah. I think that the sign of strength is allowing that which is not you to exist, right? Like I just think that, like, if it's the old joke, and I do think it's true, is the guys with the littlest dicks have the biggest guns. It's just that simple. It is
Right.
If you are secure in yourself, you don't, it's from the Tao Te Ching, right?
Right.
And I'm gonna fuck it up, but it's to control others requires power. To control yourself requires strength. I think is ultimately what I'm kind of talking about here.
That sounds right.
I think I fucked up at least one word in that quote, but regardless, it's 3,000 years old. It's really great.
You did good.
But more to the point, yeah, I just think that there, just when you get old, it's like I'm not going to waste my time making other. That's sort of what's sad about a lot of our current political climate is it's just a lot of people spending a lot of energy trying to get other people to live the way they want to. They want them to want to live, and it's just
Right.
like why you're not helping yourself. You do realize that, right? You trying to get rid of these books in the library doesn't help you at all, or your kids, or whatever in your fantasy you think. Excelsior!